Good morning, mathematicians. So today we are going to be doing IXL C5, add and subtract integers under the 8th grade set of IXL problems. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to steal this problem and we will work through it together and write down a little bit of information. Okay. So what I would recommend for these problems, what's really going to help you out, is to read and just focus on the first little paragraph right here. And then after that, compare what you get with your first paragraph with the second. And then we will see which one of our answers is going to be correct down here. So let's read this paragraph. Clara and her family are vacationing in the Netherlands. They began a tour of the North Sea coastline at an elevation of -8 feet. By the end of the tour, their elevation had decreased by 5 feet. What was their elevation at the end of the tour? Okay, so in this paragraph, let's highlight our important numbers here. So it says that we start at an elevation of -8 feet. Okay, so we start at -8. And we keep reading it. It says by the end, the elevation had decreased by 5 feet. So we're going to go 5 feet lower than that position. All right, and then what was their elevation at the end of the tour? So what we'll do is on our number line, we're going to go to -8. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the number line here. Okay, so I just clicked -8 right there. We're going to start here at -8, go back to our problem, and then it says it decreased by another 5 feet. So we start at -8 and now we're going down, or in the left direction of the number line, 5 feet. So let me minimize that. And so if we start at -8, again, we're going to go 5 in the negative direction because we're decreasing, right? So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it looks like we're going to end up at -13 feet. So I'm going to come back to the problem and I'm going to say this is going to equal -13 feet. Now that we have our answer from the first paragraph, let's look at the second. To solve the problem, Braden subtracted -8 and then subtracted 5 and came up with an answer of -13 feet. Is this correct? So is the answer that Braden got corresponding with our answer? Yes, it is. We both got -13 feet. So we're going to mark yes for this problem. So let's go back to IXL. We'll say yes, and that is going to be correct. All right. Now let's do this problem. And again, I'm going to go ahead and steal it. Okay, so same deal. We're going to read this first paragraph first, and then this paragraph second. Okay. Connor is playing a card game called At Face Value. At the end of each round, players earn positive points for their remaining number cards, but negative points for their face cards. At the end of round 1, Connor earns -5 points. At the end of round 2, he earns -6 points. What is Connor's score now? So again, let's look at the important numbers here. At the end of round 1, Connor earns -5 points. Okay, so we start at -5. At the end of round 2, he earns -6 points. What is Connor's score now? Okay, so let's set that up here. It says that we start at -5. Let's go to our number line. Go right here. Okay, so it says we start at -5. And then it says, let's see what it says. At the end of round 2, he earns -6 points. So he's going to earn a value of -6, meaning we're going to go in the negative, or the left side of our number line 6 times, or 6 places. So we'll go back to our number line here. And from -5, we'll go 6 in the negative direction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So it looks like he's going to end up with -11 points. Okay, so we'll go back to our problem. We'll do equals -11. Okay, now the second paragraph. To solve the problem, Michael added -5 plus -6 and came up with the answer of -11. Is Michael correct? Well, it looks like we both got the same answer here. So we're going to say that Michael is indeed correct. So let's go back to IXL, click correct. Awesome. Okay. And so let's do this next problem. And in fact, I'm going to skip it because I want to make sure we get a variety of problems here. Okay, let's try this one. Tara did a science experiment. The beginning temperature of her saltwater solution was -2. By the end of the experiment, the solution's temperature was 24. What was the change in the temperature of the solution? Okay, let's deal with this problem. Okay, so there is no first and second paragraph here. We're just going to look at the first one, no problem. But let's highlight our information. So the beginning temperature of her saltwater solution was -2. So we start at -2. Okay, and by the end of the experiment, the solution temperature was 24. So we start at -2 and then we end up at 24. What was the change in temperature of the solution? All right, so let's go to our number line. And it says that we are going to start at -2. So we're going to start here at -2. Okay. And then it says, let's see, by the end of the experiment, the solution's temperature was 24. So we're going to end up at positive 24 degrees Celsius. Okay, going back to our number line. It goes a little bit beyond this, but it's going to be about over here at 24. Okay. So -2 to 24. And so what is the space between -2 and positive 24? Okay, so we can do this in two ways, and I can take a little snapshot of this as well. Okay. So we'll start at -22, and then it's going to end up at positive 24. So if we want to find the space between these two numbers, -2 and then 24, what I would do is I would look at our number line and I would look at the positive half and then the negative half of our number line. So for instance, let's focus on the negative half. How much space is between -2 and 0? Okay, how much space is between those two numbers? That's just going to be 2, right? There's only 2 units within that range there, so that's 2. Okay, now let's look at the range from 0 to 24. How many spaces exist between the number 0 and 24? Well, that's easy. That's 24, right? Okay. So remember, the problem is asking us how much did it change? How much space is there between -2 and 24? Okay, well, we know that the space here is 2 and the space here is 24. So the entirety of the space is going to be 2 plus 24, which is just going to be 26. Okay, so we'll go back, go here, we'll put in 26. And that is going to be our answer. Okay, so use a number line if that helps you out with the negative numbers, and that'll help you out with the problems. For the earlier problems, remember to read the first paragraph and to get your answer from the first paragraph and then compare it with the second. Oftentimes, you're not going to get the same answer. So you want to make sure you know your answer from the first paragraph before you compare it with your answer or with the answer from the second. Okay, that is where I'm going to end the video. Good luck, stay safe, and goodbye.